afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. This one's sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates lower than the national average, plus a special rate on balance transfers with a Visa Platinum or Visa with Rewards credit card. Breaking news in the world of college football. Baylor AD and chair of the College Football Playoff Committee, Mack Rhoades, is taking a leave from both positions, citing personal reasons. The Columbus Blue Jackets back on home ice tonight after a 5-game roadie taking on the Edmonton Oilers. It's an ESPN Plus Hulu exclusive, so that means a 7:30 puck drop at Nationwide. Pre-game coverage on The Fan begins at 7. As heard on T-Bone and Tyvis this morning, Jet Greaves gets his third straight start in net. Thursday night football tonight, the New England Patriots hosting the New York Jets at 8:15. You can hear that over on The Fan, too, immediately after OSU women's basketball. They're taking on Bellarmine at 6:30. Catch the Ryan Day Show next on The Fan.
From Learfield, this is the Ryan Day Show, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance and by the American Dairy Association Mideast on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with head coach Ryan Day and former OSU All-American Jim Lachey, here's the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
And welcome to our show this week as Ohio State returns home for the final 2 home games. They will entertain UCLA on Saturday night. Hard to believe, Jim, we're looking at that point with just 3 games left in the regular season and only 2 at home.
Yeah, it certainly flies by. But the formula for Ohio State on the road these last 3 games has kind of been similar. Get off to a fast start, right? They did it against Illinois, up 17-3 in that ball game, up 20-0 against Wisconsin on the road. And then, last week after a first quarter that went by quick, but Ohio State trailed 3-0. They scored 24 points there in the second quarter to put it out of hand. And that's what this team's been able to do, is take care of business in the first half, make it tough for the opposition to, find a way to get back in the game. It kind of makes them play left-handed, so to speak, because you got to abandon the running game and you got to, really go out there and try to throw the football. So fast starts have been the formula for Ohio State these last several games.
And, Coach Day, you've talked about how with some of the changes in the game, how games are shorter and numbers of plays are shorter, but this one last Saturday seemed to have a bigger sample size.
Well, it was good to get, over 40 runs in the game. We felt like that was something we wanted to get done, and so we played over, I think it was 75 plays, 76 plays on offense, and defense going into the last drive, I think, had 37, and then, we put some of the depth in the game, so, that was good. We would have liked to have, in the last drive, maybe get off the field, so that way we could have got some of the guys on offense reps, but I think that was the most we played in a while. So that was good to get on film and keep working through it. But, efficiency is the key, and, that's going to be the name of the game here. So there was a lot of good things, and I like the way that, we obviously came out. We got the penalty on the first play, but, we were really rocking off the ball there. That was good, and then we came back with an explosive and, didn't quite, get the first drive or so exactly the way we wanted it, but then we get the turnover and then, get into halftime after the 2-minute drill and get the big lead, and a 17-play drive to start the second half that didn't finish the way we wanted to. So, again, all things to work on, a lot of positives out there, but we all know that there's a lot of meat on the bone and we got to keep getting better.
What's a coaching point for Jeremiah after that penalty? The effort's great. He's trying to make a play, for his teammate. What do you tell him after that situation?
Well, that play in particular was a too-high shell, and he was on an RPO, and there was a cloud there. So he was transitioning from a route into blocking. So the effort was there, and we talk about transitioning when you recognize you're not getting the pass. And so, there was an opportunity to read it, and Julian did a nice job, saw 2 high safeties, so now we get numbers in the box, hands the ball off. The safety comes down from the high part of the field, and Jeremiah comes in there, and then you got to make a decision. And we talk about back blocking, almost like setting a pick. Yeah, exactly. Putting your hands in the air, which is what we teach in special teams. And so, in that moment right there, certainly it was close, but something to learn from. But that's what we teach him. We teach him once you feel like you cannot, block him without pushing him in the back. We tell you put your hands up and almost create a pick. We call that a back block. You see that a lot of times again on special teams.
With that play as well as many others and the advanced number of plays in the game, most important that group of running backs got a lot of those reps.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was good to see those guys get some runs, and I like some of the things that went on. I like the way CJ ran in the short yardage and the goal line. I thought Bo did a nice job. We had a play where we had a guy come and run through on the front side on a third down, and he made that guy miss, sort of look like Quinshawn last year, knocked the guy down and then got the first down. And there was actually 2 plays like that Bo did a nice job there. And so, a lot of good things that went on right there for those guys. The more they play, the better. They're still very, very young, and we want to get those guys as many reps as we can.
Is Coach Lockton in charge of getting those guys, into the game, or is there certain plays that you want to have a certain back in there? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I think CJ, you're seeing is a little bit more of a role, but he can do everything as well. You've seen him do that. I mean, they all can do it all, but there are certain things that each guy does a little bit better than others, and sometimes we'll try to do that, but it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes the play's in, we don't have time to get it all organized that way. And plus, there's a rhythm that you have to play with. And I think to get, the right guy in the right spot every single play, it's a lot of manipulation and it slows the game down. So we want everybody able to do, everything. But at the same time, there are certain things that guys do better than others that we'll try to make sure we emphasize.
How's their pass catching ability helped with the efficiency you're striving for?
All of those guys can catch the ball, and that's got to be a weapon for us. And I think you saw it last year, this time of year. You see, Travion and Quinshawn both had some big receptions in those moments because, as we know, the schemes are going to be organized to stop the guys on the outside and Max. So a lot of times they're going to find themselves in a one-on-one situation. So we got to use them as the season goes on, but they all can do it, and that's the key. And protection is the first thing, but then obviously running routes is the second.
Quick film session for your defense this past ball game with 47 plays by Purdue. I mean, they've been suffocating, under 200 yards. It's almost what they're averaging, just 211 yards per game. Teams are getting against our defense. What sticks out to you when you see this defense perform week in and week out?
Well, I think they're fresh. It seems like they're playing fast. They're seeking contact. They're playing violent. They're knocking back the line of scrimmage. And it was good to see them get their hands on a ball. And I think we've put an emphasis on turnovers, and there was like 3 or 4 balls that popped out, and you could see the intent. We knocked the ball out on a couple of them that popped back to them. One that was already down, another one that was on was considered an incomplete pass on Sonny. So we've really been working hard on that part because we know this time of year turnovers are going to be critical. So we're hammering that on both sides of the ball, but that's important. There was a couple, really, really good plays just in terms of running to the football and being physical, and you saw the hit that Caleb had there. And so I think they understand situational football as well. I think they enjoy the preparation that goes into it. The defensive staff is putting the game plan together each week to try to put these guys in a situation and then solving what is the riddle each week of how is the team going to attack us. So, I think the physicality's there, stopping the run, and we got work to continue to force teams to drive the ball down the field. Keep it in front, not give up X plays, but then create turnovers.
We know last year after the Oregon game, you said you spent more time with the defense. How much time are you spending with the defense this year?
Not much. Yeah. Matt and I talk here and there just about, philosophically what we're trying to get done, but he's doing a great job of that. He's really, the head coach of the defense and, organizes it all, and he's got a great staff with him. Tim and James and Larry and Matt, they all work together to make sure that it's organized. And, it's good. I'm able to, on Wednesdays, I try to go down. I think I told you this last week for 4 plays. We did get a first down this week, so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the guys to get a first down. Not too many teams are doing that right now against the Buckeyes. It's a group that, I feel like is playing with a lot of confidence, and Matt's doing a great job driving it.
If you have a question for Coach Day, you can submit it to our Union Home Mortgage inbox at OhioStateBuckeyes.com and click on Ryan Day Show inbox. Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com, and equal housing lender, NMLS number 2229. Saturday, Ohio State hosts UCLA. We'll be on the air with the AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show beginning at 6 p.m. More of today's show presented by Roosters coming up on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Buckeye fans, choose chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes those moments when you choose to rise above the noise and choose chill even better. Coors Light is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, so crack one open and take a sip. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, beer.
Hey, Ohio State fans, are you looking to score big with your home equity? Union Home Mortgage will help you unlock the value of your home and fund the promises you've made to yourself and your family. If you need to pay off debt, have home improvements, or whatever your family needs are, visit UHM.com and score financial freedom with Union Home Mortgage, the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender and MLS number 2229.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Buckeye fans, this is for you. Level up with the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. You'll receive all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Ohio State sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State team shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
Picture it. Your holiday table, the family cooking together, the scent of golden brown bread, rosemary from roasted potatoes, and a salad so crisp it snaps, spiced cider in every glass, laughter around every plate. At Kroger, we know these moments matter, and we make it easier to bring them to life with quality that's affordable in every aisle. This season, don't just host, make every moment unforgettable. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back to this week's show with Ohio State coach Ryan Day. Time for our 2 Deep report presented by Elk and Elk. Serious fans of Ohio State athletics, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Jim, can you believe it's been since 2001 that Ohio State and UCLA have played?
Yeah, I mean, and that was a memory game, for Ohio State.
First after 9/11.
Right. That was supposed to be that weekend, and, the following weekend, I think, that was scheduled, and it got moved to the 22nd.
Yes.
So we end up going out there for that game, but great game, low-scoring game. Steve Belisari, I believe, was the quarterback in that game.
He was. And
what was it, 13-6 or something like that?
Something
13-7.
Mike Doss with a defensive touchdown in that game.
Yep.
Yeah. So regarding the 2 Deep, Coach, we talked a lot about how after the Purdue game you got a lot of reps for some guys, especially at the wide receiver spot. If you would talk a little bit about Mylan Graham, Bryson Rogers, the way they were able to get out there and do their things.
Yeah. Not having Carnell available for that game, some guys had to step up, and I thought Jeremiah played an excellent game, and it was good to see Max step up, and then Brandon Ennis as well. But when you're in 11 personnel now, we got to start playing some depth, and so I felt like Mylan, first off, he had an opportunity early in the game, didn't come through, but now he's got to respond to that. Now we're in the game, and so he came back with a catch later in the game, so that was a bright spot. Bryson Rogers graded out, which was great. He had some good blocks. Had 2 nice catches. You could see the route running ability there. So hopefully his confidence is increasing because we need him, and also hopefully he can help us on special teams as well. And so that'll be really important for us. And so what a great opportunity for him to step up and help us out there. And so we're hoping to get Quincy back this week as well. So again, hopefully to get more and more depth in that room.
2-part question here. How many champions do you have at the Champions Dinner? And you raised that from 80 to 83. Is that to kind of tighten things up a little bit, or for the guys, hey, I got to perform at a higher level now?
Yeah. So as many people know, listeners know, we grade everybody out each week. and it's a big deal around here. So really, there's two things that we want to do every year. And our identity in particular, this year is be the hardest playing team in the country. And who controls that? We do. Like, no one controls how hard you play other than we do. We control how hard we play, the physicality, the effort, all the things that come with it, the intensity. It has nothing to do with talent. So, but if we're going to say it, we got to do it every single game. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is grade out a champion. That means everybody doing their job. And so it's the position coach's job to make sure that their unit is grading out a champion. And, if all 10 units are grading out champion, we're going to win every game. That's just how it goes. But, that's a huge responsibility. And so what is grading out a champion? Well, you have to grade out over 80% and play over 15 plays. If you're under 15 plays, then you get honorable mention if you grade out over 80%. If you're over that, then, you have an opportunity to grade out a champion. That's a huge deal. So on Sundays, when we call out the champions, it's a huge deal. Like, everyone's cheering, and we bring them down, and we dap them up, we give them their stats. And that's a huge accomplishment. And then we post it in the building of who's graded out throughout the season and who's doing their job. And then it's feedback on how your week has gone. Because if it's going well, then you got to figure a way to enhance it. If you didn't grade out a champion, there's something that went wrong during the week. Whether it was the way you practiced, the way you prepared, the way your coach got you prepared, the scheme, something along the line. Maybe you didn't sleep well that. Maybe you weren't hydrated. I don't know what the situation was, but you didn't quite do it. So it's a chance for all of us to get feedback on Saturdays, as we know. But it's a tangible way for the guys to get an idea where they stand. And so we just felt like we needed to turn up the volume a little bit the last week. And so we went from 80 to 83. And you might think that's a big deal, it may not sound like a big deal, but it is. From 80 to 83 is a big deal. And so, but that's what we're striving for. We want to be the best in what we do. And so there was a couple guys that graded in the 81, 82, right in that range, but it wasn't quite there. And for us to be champions and to reach our goals, we have to get to that point. So that's the idea behind it. I think the guys, but the important thing is they buy into it. I think our guys really buy into it. They understand how important it is. So, whatever type of game it is, if it's always about us, it's about the grading. And then it's the coach's job to make sure that the criteria is accurate and that they're grading it, and being real about it. And so something that really we take serious around here.
So it's the position coaches that grade for their groups?
Yeah, and not every position is the same. So I take offensive line, for example. I mean, there's nowhere to hide as an offensive lineman. Every play, other than maybe a naked or something like that, where you just kind of run to the left, but that's rare for an offensive lineman. They're at the point of attack every play, and if they may have a bad play, it's going to show. Where if you're a wide receiver and you're backside of like 4 run plays, it's not going to show. But when you have a chance as a corner to go make a play down the field on a long play, like that's your opportunity to make a play. So each play is important, but not every play is exactly the same in terms of grading. And so it's each position coach to recognize that, to build up their room, to make sure that they're grading out a champion. So all those things come into play, and we all take ownership in that. It starts in recruiting. If I'm a position coach, I have to make sure I'm recruiting the right guys so that I trust that when they come on the field, they're going to do their job. If they can't, then I didn't recruit the right people. So, the depth, all that stuff comes into play, and that's where the ownership for the position coach comes into play. Ultimately goes to the coordinator and ultimately comes on my plate. So we try to put those systems in place so the guys understand that and take ownership.
Back in the day, you graded play was technique, assignment. Did you get your job done? Is that still the criteria that you have when you're looking at these players and grading them?
That's it, yeah. And it kind of goes back to what we said, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If there's an assignment issue, then we can't even get off of first base. You cannot play if you don't know what you're doing. The second thing is how, and that's, like you said, your technique and your finish and whether you're loafing or those types of things. And so, yeah, we look at those things, and each coach has their own way to sort of do that. Offensive line is, like I said, is different than the quarterback. Quarterback's different than somebody else.
Do you grade the scout team guys too? Is that kind of a different universe?
No, we don't grade them. And there's times where we do grade practice during the season, but there's so much going on that we have to keep moving. We grade everything in the preseason. We grade everything in the spring. During the season, we try to get scout team players of the week that we recognize in the champions meeting to give some feedback on who's doing well. And so we'll pick one skill and one lineman on each side of the ball. And then typically if we have room, we'll travel them or bring them over to the golf course to give them some feedback on where they stand.
Coach, when you're looking at each of all these players and evaluating them, some of that's going to depend on the opponent you're playing, right? I mean, who you're going against is going to determine like who your grade's going to be. If you got one of the best players in America and you're going against them, then that's a factor. But still, you have to grade out a champion.
Well, that's where the 83% comes into me. because, as a coach, you have to look at it through the lens of you're playing against the best player in the country every single week. And is that going to get it done? Because like you said, if you're not critical in how you're grading somebody, if you don't have a high standard for them, when the competition increases, it's going to show, and then it's going to cost us a game. So we have to grade it with the eye of, like, you're playing against Superman, and what do you need to do in order to block Superman or to get open against Superman or whatever it might be, And so, that's the focus, that's the intensity, that's the technique, that's everything that comes with it. And it takes a skilled eye of a position coach to recognize those things. And then it takes the trust between the player and the coach to be able to call those things out. And then everyone's got to, there's got to be enough truth and trust in the room that we can get better on this thing, knowing that we're trying to chase these goals. So all those things come into play. And like you said, if it's truly about us, then no, we should be grading it based on us. But that being said, it certainly can look different on film.
We'll start with some of our Union Home Mortgage inbox list of questions. Brad in Youngstown asking, does the intensity in practice change during the season, or is it the same in week one as it is now?
Man, the goal is for the intensity to continue to increase. Now, there's times during the season where we'll cut out some periods. We may try to shorten practice, but we never want the intensity to go down at all. So, for instance, like this week, we typically have 4 plays of inside drill. We did 3, and that's on Tuesday. But the intensity should never change at all, and that's what we're looking for, especially with good on good. On walkthroughs, okay, now we have to be as intense mentally with our focus, but not as much physically as the season goes on. Those reps can add up on you. But when we're going good on good in practice, we want the intensity to always be the same.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays are your heavy work days where everything's got to be perfect, and then it start to polish up, right? Because when you Tuesday, Wednesday, you figure out what our game plan is going to be, because you come up with all these plays, but then you practice and like, that's not going to work this week. So then you kind of, you narrow it down. And then when you get to a Thursday practice like this afternoon, you're going to work on what this is what we're going to work on in the game. We're going to go through it. And the intensity might not be, you don't take a guy to the ground or something like that. Everybody's trying to stay up. But this is what we're going to do. So assignments have to be pure. Technique's got to look good, and you got to go ahead and finish your job.
That's it. And, how do you show great effort on a Thursday practice, through your focus, your finish, your footwork, your communication, all those things. And it takes a tremendous amount of focus and concentration. I know you've heard me say that a lot this year, but that's true. Can you sustain that? Great players and great coaches in November and December can sustain a certain level of play, a certain level of coaching, a certain level of focus throughout the entire season. And the good ones get better. And in order to do that, you got to get your rest. You got to get your rest as a coach. You got to get your rest as a player. And so, to your point, we got to be locked in. And I say sometimes that Tuesdays is sort of like a laboratory, in some ways, and you got to look at some different things. But that by the time you get to Thursday, you got to pare it down and figure out what you're going to call in a game.
Be sure to check out the Buckeye Game Day Concert Series presented by the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer before every home game this season outside of St. John Arena in Buckeye Fan Fest. Each week features a different artist on stage 2 hours before kickoff. Get on board and book your cruise today. Visit BuckeyeCruise.com. Go Bucks and beat cancer. More of today's show with Coach Day presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at Safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
Everyone loves Donato's legendary thin crust, but sometimes you want a little more to grab. That's where Donato's hand-tossed pizza comes in. Golden, delicious, and perfect for dipping in that ranch, marinara, or garlic butter sauce. For a limited time, get a large one-topping hand-tossed pizza plus dipping sauce for just $9.99. Order online using promo code MORE. Donato's. Gotta love more.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeye football lives here. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeye fans, power up and carbon down with AEP Energy and Eco Advantage, their 100% renewable energy plan. For your home or business, visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. The Buckeyes are at home this Saturday night at 7:30, hosting the UCLA Bruins at Ohio Stadium. Time now for our Inside Access with Kroger. Hey, Buckeye Nation, let's help tackle hunger by donating 2 million meals this season. You can help end hunger by rounding up during your next trip to Kroger at Ohio Stadium and the Schottenstein Center concession stands. Come on, Buckeyes, let's tackle hunger. And Inside Access, well, you know, one of the things that we've kind of seen that you've had, and it came to fruition last week against Purdue, is using Lincoln Kienholz in some certain packages, and had to be great to see him be able to get that one executed, following his blocker and diving right into the end zone.
Yeah, no, it's been good. We've had a couple different packages for Lincoln, and hasn't quite, the timing and whatever hadn't quite shown up in the games yet, but that was a good time to hit it, and I thought the whole thing was well executed. I thought the line did a nice job there, and C.J. Donaldson did a good job getting movement, and I thought Lincoln, on contact, really drove his legs through it, and so it was good to see him get in the game, and hopefully we can build on it.
Coach, the term bell cow refers to, having that one back that gets the majority of those carries and kind of, wears out that defense, so to speak. I think that's changed in college football with, the length of the season now. You don't see as many, one back, two back type offenses. You're seeing more of that for teams that plan to play 16, 17 ball games, through the course of the year. I kind of go back and forth because, having that one back kind of wear him down, he kind of gets in that groove after a while. But you're splitting it up with 4 different people. Just your thoughts on that.
I think there's some give and take there for sure. I think you want to get into the rhythm of the game and feel that rhythm of the game, but it's a long season, so you kind of get that give and take right there for sure. But I do think, our guys, the more reps they're getting, the more comfortable they are within the game. And, I feel like, we're kind of honing in on what they can do well. So I think there's give and take on both of it. And I think sometimes, it's good to, kind of play the hot hand and let those guys get in the feel of the game and roll. But then at the same time, it's good to keep them fresh. So it's always good to have depth. But, we want to make sure that these guys feel, and this is what we talked about before. Sometimes you got to let the run game kind of take its course. And that's what we're trying to get done in the game. And so, again, it was good for us to continue to get the feedback on where things can be executed better. Where can the running backs hit it better? How can they look to, make a guy miss at the second level and all the things that come with it, and then feeling the physicality of wearing a team down and playing the game in the fourth quarter, winning a game in the fourth quarter, which we know we're going to have to do here moving forward.
Ideally, is it nice to have guys with some different skill sets there in one position group like that?
I think it can be good, yeah, which we have. If it's too different, then you have to sort of adapt to what you're doing. I think it's good to have some things that are in common, which they all do. But, it is, good to have some I guess, specialty things that guys can do. Like it's good to have CJ, in the short yardage situations to kind of get in there and get strong and powerful and run through contact. And because once he gets some momentum going with his size, he can really move that line of scrimmage. And you see, James, who's pretty good in space, and then probably Isaiah and Bo are somewhere in between, but they all can do it, and we've used them all in different situations. But that's our goal, is to put them in the situation to be successful. They can use their talents.
Ian Moore got his first career start at the right tackle position, playing for Philip Daniels, who was nicked up a little bit there. Overall, I thought he did a really good job. There's a couple of plays I thought he could improve on, but for the most part, I thought he really did it. But that's got to give him confidence, too, going forward, knowing that he can go out there and get it done. And then give confidence in the coaches, because you got to see it, right? You see it in practice, but then you got to see it on Saturday afternoon or game day. You got to see him go out there and perform. Now you guys have some confidence that he can get that job done.
No, there's no question. And we were talking about this early in the year for guys who maybe hadn't played as much, but they had done a lot in practice. And you see the things in practice, and it leads you to believe they can do it, but they got to go do it in the game. And for him, you didn't really notice him in the game. That's a good sign. Now, we look at it, with a critical eye and see the things that he can get better at. But for a first start, like you said, it's got to give him confidence, saying, okay, no, I can do this, man. I can play in the Big Ten, and here are the things I know I got to get better at. But here are the things that I did well, and so he's got to now have the mindset that he's going to play in these games and be an asset for us moving forward. So I think we all see the potential there. He's still a young player, still growing and learning, but good start for him.
Rob in Cincinnati with our next Union Home Mortgage Inbox question. Knowing football can be a copycat type of game, how much do you use what other teams had success with against your opponent as you game plan?
We look at everything. There's certain plays that are copycat plays, and we talk about this on defense, and that's why Sundays become important. When we get out there for a Sunday, we're usually coming off of the meetings, a champions meeting, we watch the film. And then when we come out there, one of the scout team periods is corrections from the day before. And in the corrections period, we, especially on defense, we have to go over the plays that hit us the week before, the day before. Because we know, and if you don't stop those plays, they're coming. Same thing on offense. If we didn't pick up a blitz or we didn't handle a movement or something like that, you better get it fixed, because they're going to keep coming at you. So that's something that we try to address on Sundays and make sure that those things don't keep happening. And then on offense, you look at those things, and on defense, you look at those things to say, hey, is there a weakness here that we can exploit? And then good teams get them addressed.
I looked at that last game against Purdue. They had a little bit of success on that opening drive. But then you saw all the defensive coaches kind of huddled around Coach Patricia on the sideline going over that opening drive. And that really, whatever it was they were doing, they shut it down the rest of the game. And that's, again, getting your coaching heads together, checking it out on the tablet, reviewing each and every play and say, this is what we got to do. This is making those adjustments. I think these guys have done an incredible job all year making adjustments after they see it once.
Yeah, and not panicking, but having urgency about getting it fixed on the field the next time. So we don't like getting scored upon, and you can see them come off the field with some, it's not disappointment, it's a little bit of anger, like being kind of pissed off about it. Like, come on, man, like we gotta keep them out of the end zone, but at the same time, a mindset, all right, let's go figure out what's going on and get the thing addressed and get it stopped next drive. So whether it's a play or whether there's just something going on within that drive that said, okay, here's why that happened. And I think the most important thing when that happens is the coach's ability to recognize what did happen on that drive. Because when you don't know, that's where confusion sets in. That's where panic comes in, and guys start to make plays, and that's not good, because now you start playing on discipline. You jump out of a gap, and here we go. Here comes a mess on its hand. So that part has been good. We have to continue to do that. We certainly don't want to give up drives. When we do, we got to identify what it is and get it fixed.
How comfortable do you feel with how your defense has disguised things but then still stayed within the basic parameters of what you want to do?
I think our guys take pride in the disguise. I think they love football. Starts with Caleb back there. He's like a coach, in terms of his mindset and his approach and the way he helps the guys around him, makes them better. But it's rubbing off to the other guys. And, Sonny's that way, up front. He looks at it that way. I mean, he's played a lot of football now, and he sees it. And so I think when the coaches come in with something that, can give a certain look or show something one way, bring it another way, I think they take that as a challenge. I think they like that part of it. And so, it's something that they enjoy doing. And then, making sure that, we're still playing within the confines of our defense and what we know really, really well, so we can play fast. It's the coach's job at the end of the day to keep the game plan simple. This time of year, this time of year, just like, okay, I think it's easy for coaches to try to like do too much. And when you have smart guys, sometimes you can put too much on their plate. And we have to make sure as coaches we're keeping the game plan simple. We're allowing the guys to play really, really fast. I think that's so important. And so that's for everybody involved. That's offense, defense, and special teams. Because, as a player, like, you want to just play fast. Like, just give me what I need to do and let me go play. I'm going to control how hard I play, my fundamentals, and all those things that come with it. It's the coach's job to find ways to disguise it, to make it look a little different, but keep it simple so they can play fast. That's the game within the game, especially this time of year. So, we're challenging our guys with that every day and making sure that we're doing our part as coaches.
You're playing against another interim coach. You did it against Penn State with Terry Smith. Now you get Tim Skipper. How much harder is that in preparation? Because you got a game plan. You study the whole offseason about the program, what they're going to do, and then you get an interim coach. It comes up, and heck, if I'm an interim coach, I'm going to run some fake punts. I'm going to do some onside kicks, and UCLA's done that. I mean, what do you got to lose, right?
Well, that's sort of the mentality they've had. They've faked four punts. They've done an onside kick. So they're letting it roll,
right.
And they're running fake punts against safe, where you have your defense out there. So they're just going. So we have to expect the unexpected. They had a coordinator change on defense. After that change, so he kind of came in and wasn't really part of the staff, and then took over and did his whole deal. So it's a little bit different, but I give them all credit. The kids are playing hard. And that's a tribute to the guys that are there, and not only just the culture of the program at UCLA, but how those coaches are doing to keep it all together, and the players. They're playing hard, and Nico's really the leader of that group. It seems like to me from afar.
As the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters has big news. The newly renovated Olentangy River Road location is now open and ready to welcome everyone back. Stop in and enjoy their award-winning wings and all your favorite menu items. Roosters, a fun, casual joint and a great place for everybody around the state coming in this weekend to go check out. And we'll continue with more of our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
If you are a fighter, Modelo is your reward. So listen close. You put up with a lot, but you always hold it down for your people. You are strong, you are fearless, you are the baddest on the block. You are an elbow grease factory, a force of nature. You are not to be reckoned with. You are a ride or die, a powerhouse of productivity. You are a fighter, and Modelo is your reward. You've earned every last drop of this rich golden lager, so raise it up high. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium, presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Hey, Buckeye fans, Kroger is teaming up with Ohio State to tackle hunger. Kroger is challenging Buckeye Nation to help donate 2 million meals to our neighbors in need. All you have to do is round up at checkout during your next trip to Kroger or after your next purchase at Ohio Stadium or the Schottenstein Center. The campaign runs to the end of the year, and every dollar helps provide 10 meals. Visit your local Kroger for more details, and let's work together to end hunger. The 2026 Buckeye Cruise for Cancer sets sail on the Silver Sea Silver Ray. It's an intimate ship with an even better experience. It's all-inclusive of beverages, shore excursions, taxes, and gratuities. Sail to bucket list ports like the Grand Turk, St. Martin, and St. Thomas, with Buckeye greats including Ryan Day, Bobby Carpenter, A.J. Hawk, the Boren Brothers, Ezekiel Elliott, Ryan Shazier, and more. Sailing from Fort Lauderdale, February 17th through the 24th. Call 614-792-6204 to book today.
James Peoples here, running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes. You have to check out the brand new AAA Buckeyes MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win tickets to Buckeyes sporting events, access to exclusive MVP experiences, along with 10% off select gear at the Ohio State Team Shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Buckeyes MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Buckeyes to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive.
The Fan. Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Ohio State Athletics and Androl have joined forces to recognize November as Military Appreciation Month. Join Buckeye fans across the state in thanking all former and current military members for their service. And welcome back to our show this week as Ohio State gets ready to host UCLA Saturday night. Join Coach Ryan Day and experts from across Buckeye Nation to preview every matchup and break down each week's game. It's Game Time with Ryan Day, presented by Huntington Bank, airing Saturday mornings at 9 on 10 TV in Columbus and statewide on OhioStateBuckeyes.com. Coach, we've talked to you about this before, and anybody who gets a chance to go through facility here with Veterans Day having been Tuesday, the military acknowledgement in this building is legendary when you think about it. I know you had your fatigues on at the press conference on Tuesday, and something that everybody around here makes a big point about.
Yeah, actually had a chance to go visit with the folks over at ROTC with President Carter Tuesday morning, which was great. Just got so much respect for all the work that's put in, and certainly everything they do to allow us this opportunity to come into work every day and not think about all of the things that go on in the world today. And and so the other part of it is we use the military is really a way for us to kind of organize what we do on a daily basis. So it's unbelievable just how they operate, and there's just so many similarities in terms of how they're organized and the execution and the sacrifice in terms of what you're doing for your brother and everything like that. And so we use that as a way to motivate our players. And certainly there's just so many great stories of great people in the history of Ohio State football that have done so much. In the we have military folks come in on Wednesdays after practice, which is great. We have military folks before the game that I have a chance to go visit with, and so we're just have so much respect for what they do and just forever grateful for what they've done.
No, that's what I was going to say too, is that every practice after Wednesday you see a lot of the military guys and the coaches, the players all try to be respectful and go up and say hello and thanks for doing what you're doing. But the way they emphasize teamwork, doing your job, it's exactly what football is.
That's it. And we look to them as a way to say, hey man, this is like a whole different level than what we're doing. I mean, we're just playing football here, but the execution, the teamwork, the organization, the discipline, everything that comes with that is what we're aspiring to be as a football program. And so we have great relationships with those folks, and there's certainly folks in the military that I use to help me in terms of my leadership, and so it's been great. And so we love having that connection with them.
A little bit of a softball question here, Coach. Fan mail. I mean, you deal with these fans during every commercial break. You sign, helmets, things like that. I'm sure you get a bunch of stuff sent to you each and every week. How do you find time to for that? Because you want it to be in a timely manner. You don't want these people to send something in August and get it in February. How do you deal with all that?
Well, it's certainly a great problem to have. We have great fans here, and so a lot of stuff gets sent here and to the Woody, and we just try to do everything we can to make sure that all of the fans understand that this is everything goes hand in hand here, and it's important in recruiting for our recruits and when recruiting staff members and coaches to understand how important community is with this program. It goes hand in hand, and it goes back to when they were raising money for the stadium. They raise money through the community and everything that comes with it, and how much it's the pride of who we are in Ohio. And so it's just we want to make sure we're always doing our part. And so tomorrow our guys are going to go over, and each position group each week is different. It'll be the offensive line that goes over to the hospital to do their part, and so we try to do everything we can to make sure that we respect and understand that we don't take this for granted. And so we try to do everything we can, and whether it's signing things or make connection with people, it's important to us.
From our Union Home Mortgage inbox list of questions, Bart and Mommy, after a couple of seasons now, Are you a fan of the new kickoff rule, and do you feel that it has done what it was intended to do? And along those lines, would you be in favor of college football using the same rule as the NFL?
You know, I can't say that I've really studied it that much or really know much about it because I don't really watch the NFL. And if I do watch the NFL, I'm not really watching the kickoffs, quite honestly. I'm watching, like the offense, defense, and trying to pick up trends that are going on in the NFL. So I don't really know. I don't know the injury statistics because that's at the end of the day what it really comes down to is that we're trying to keep the injuries down on that. And so I know it was the high contact issues, and so it sounds like it's going well. And anytime it can increase, the safety of our players in the game, then I certainly think it's something we need to look into. But my mind isn't there right now.
Understand?
Yeah.
Coach, a quick question. You see a lot more teams in the NFL doing 13 personnel. You've been doing a lot of 11, 12, probably more 12 personnel. That's kind of a trend that's going on in the NFL right now. Why is that happening?
Well, when you have tight ends who are athletic enough to line up as receivers and then come in the core, you can probably put the most stress on a defense when you have guys who can do multiple things. So I think there's a couple different ways to look at it. When you look at the Rams, the Rams are playing in 11, but sometimes they line up in 13 groupings. Right. If people know what that means. That's 3 tight ends with 1 receiver. When you have 3 tight ends who can then line up, and we can line up in different groupings like that look like 11 sets. It just puts stress on the defense because when they hear the grouping, they're thinking of a certain formation, right, and then they try to match the personnel. So we're always trying to make sure that we're making it hard on them, and we're trying to find that the matchups are in our favor.
Sounds good. Coach, thanks as always. All the best Saturday night.
All right, guys, thanks.
Union Home Mortgage is the official home lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at UHM.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 2229. We will talk with Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin when we continue with our weekly show presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium into the press box and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
AEP Energy wants to know if you're ready to say goodbye to higher rates and hello to savings. Get your energy costs under control by locking in a fixed rate for your electricity supply. You'll lower your bills and get price protection from rising rates. Take control and lock in a low fixed rate. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy, the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. AEP Energy is a competitive retail electrical and natural gas service provider and affiliate of Ohio Power Company, AEP Ohio. AEP Energy is not soliciting on behalf of and is not an agent of AEP Ohio.
Your home for Ohio State Athletics, The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Joint partners American Electric Power, Donato's, Kroger, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS-TV in Columbus in supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Buckeyes Care. And welcome back to our show this week. We get a chance for a few minutes to talk with quarterback Julian Sayin. Can you even begin to describe what it's been like from week one against Texas up to now, Julian?
Yeah, it's been fun just, developing and getting more comfortable within the offense. And I think a lot of the guys on the offense, we've just been getting better each and every week. And we're still striving and we're still chasing the best version of ourselves, but we're trying to get better each week.
Last year you got to experience, Will Howard and that whole thing, going through it and having some guys get nicked up through the course of the year and then, getting ready for the playoffs and winning it. How was that experience and how have you applied some of those lessons to what you're doing this year?
It was awesome to see, those veteran leaders last year, and I took so much from them, from leadership standpoint, from the preparation standpoint, and I think just being in that room with Will, seeing that leadership and seeing the preparation that he did for each week, he was a pro doing it, and so it was really good for me to see.
Julian, we all marvel at watching Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. What's it like from your view to watch those guys?
Yeah, those guys are special players. I mean, having them on the outside, it's definitely exciting as a quarterback, to see them when we get one-on-one out there and they make some great plays. And we need the offensive line to block, obviously, and we need everyone to do their part. But those guys are special players.
Usually the windows are small for a quarterback, but with Jeremiah and Carnell, they can be a little bit bigger because of the range. Are you thinking that when you throw the football down the field, knowing that, hey, he can jump over a lot of guys or he can, one-hand, things like that? Or are you still trying to put it on a certain spot?
They have a really big catch radius, and
right.
When they get one-on-one, and we can put it pretty high, and they can go up and get it, and they create a lot of separation in zone too. So it's nice to see.
With all of these tight end targets, how does that help expand the opportunities?
Yeah, I think just having so many weapons on offense, having Max Clare, having Bennett Christian, having Will Kazmarek, having all those guys on offense, just be able to spread the ball around and really just keep the defense guessing.
Now, you've showed some ability to move around the pocket. Where does that come from? How did you learn that? How can you feel that defense? Is that just from taking reps? I know you did it at the high school level. Now your first year here. But some of that's just innate. You got to have that ability to do that, to feel that rush, and you've been able to do that this year. How did you learn that?
Yeah, I think we focus on that in the quarterback room is feeling the rush and seeing the coverage, and you just need reps at it and keep working. And I'm still trying to improve in that area, but just keep getting better at it. And on third down, if they're all playing match coverage and nothing's open as a quarterback, you got to be able to go make a play with your legs.
Julian, what's it like working with the offensive staff, in particular working with Coach Day?
Yeah, Coach Day, he's a really good quarterback coach for us, and he teaches us a lot, and we take so much from him. And he's hard on us, but we wouldn't want it any other way. And Coach Fessler, Coach Hartline, they did a really good job with us, and I think we're just still getting better each week.
When you were in high school at Carlsbad, did you guys huddle up like they do here at Ohio State?
We did actually in high school. Yes, we ran a little bit of a pro style offense in high school, and we huddled, and we were using tight ends and running 12 personnel. So I was sort of familiar with it when I came here.
Same with shotgun and under center too.
Yeah, mixing it up, going shotgun and under center, and the receivers are a little bit different though.
Yeah, would think so.
Yeah.
If I remember right, that was called the Avocado League. Is that still the same league you guys are in?
Yes, that's the league. My high school we're in the playoffs this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So.
Still rolling in, huh?
Yeah. I think they're 9-1 this year. So.
Awesome.
Good. Going up against the defense you see every day in practice, how does that sharpen things?
Yeah, it definitely. They're a very challenging defense to play against. Guys like Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, and Coach Pete does a great job with that defense. And it's really challenging. They give us some complex looks, and it's a very good defense to play against, and it makes it hard on us.
Stay out of the way of Arvell?
Yeah. Those guys are they're definitely coming after the quarterback.
I'm looking at the UCLA roster. Of course, majority of those guys from California. So are you. Have you known some of those guys, recognized some of those guys that you're going to be going against on Saturday?
I recognize the names from high school. I don't think I've met too many of them, but I recognize the names growing up and seeing in the recruiting. Just seeing those guys, and I think I've played maybe some 7-on-7 against those guys, and they have some good players over there. Julian,
we know that playing in Ohio Stadium is a great experience. What's it been like going on the road and quieting some of those crowds out there? Yeah, we played some good environments on the road, and what we say on the road is, we kind of just have everybody in the building. We don't really have any, we've had some Buckeye Nation travel, and they've traveled very well, but we kind of just have us on the road, and we got to stick together. So it's been awesome to go on the road in some of those environments.
Usually a quarterback has a pretty good relationship with his center because you spend a lot of time, making sure that snap's perfect. How is your relationship with Carson Hinsman?
Yeah, it's really good. Carson, he's a great player, and it's nice to have a vet. Maybe in a first-year starter, it's nice to have a vet there, and he's able to he's seeing it, and he's played in the national championship game, and him being able to make protection checks and kind of help me along in the first few weeks.
You got a chance to be a 4-year starter here. We're looking forward to watching you play the next couple of years.
Yes, sir.
Julian, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. Good luck come Saturday night.
Thank you.
That's Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin. Join us Saturday as the Buckeyes host UCLA. We'll be on the air with the AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show beginning at 6 p.m. The Ryan Day Show, presented by Roosters, has been brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance by the American Dairy Association Mideast. For Skip Mossick, Colin Behringer, Cole Bartimus, and for Jim Lachey, Coach Ryan Day, and Julian Sayin, this is Paul Keels. Thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.